All right, we are on our final session of how to get started with homeschool art. Below this video, there is a link for you to download our Ultimate Homeschool Art Planner, and I want you to turn to page 16, and we are going to do our planning for the year. We actually have the planning pages, we have planning calendars with holidays that are in each month and the artist's birthdays. And then beyond that, we have a Masterpiece Society suggested calendar. If you are a studio member or if you purchase some of our art courses, we actually have those aligned with the seasons or different holidays, so you can use those in conjunction with this, but definitely avail yourself to the planning calendar. So maybe pause this video and look over our suggested calendar starting with January. Work your way through all the holidays, artists' birthdays, and write down some of the ones that you would like to add to your homeschool art program. And then we will add that in when we start planning. So go ahead, pause the video, download this, and then print out at least pages 16 through 20. Or if you want to, I'm going to switch over to our PowerPoint presentation, and you can just grab a pencil, number it 1 through 15, and answer the questions as we go. So we'll be back in just a bit. All right, are you ready to get to planning? So hopefully you have downloaded the planning pages. If not, take out a piece of paper and just answer these questions as we go. I am going to try to speed through this a bit because the other two sessions went a bit longer than I meant. So if you need to pause this and write out a little more, then go right ahead. But let's go ahead and let's get to planning. So these are questions to consider, and the very first one I want you to think about is, what do you want to accomplish this year? So some of the examples that we have, do you want to just simply establish a regular art study? Or do you want a general art education? Do you want knowledge of art history plus recreating the works of the great master artists? Or perhaps your kids want to learn different media. They want to try their hand at watercolors or acrylics or oil pastels or charcoal, or they want to mix it up and try it all. So these are different things to consider. We put some more examples under the question. So go ahead and write down what you would like to accomplish this year with art. Number 2, what are the ages of your children? So this is so important because if you have children who are preschool and maybe kindergarten or early elementary, this is going to completely be different than if you had upper elementary, middle school, or even teenagers. So it's important to take into consideration the ages of your children, perhaps even their maturity level, and think about, do they have the motor skills for some of the art mediums, or is this something you might want to wait a little bit? Or if you have the middle school or teenagers, perhaps you want to delve a little bit deeper in the techniques of the old masters and learn some art theory. Number 3, will you be doing art together as a family, or do you have a wide range of ages that would work better individually? So if you do have children from preschool all the way to high school, you definitely want to think about that, because your teenagers, some of teenagers will really love doing some of the K through 2 things. In fact, we've had plenty of studio members whose teenagers love to do all the art lessons, even the pre-K stuff. But for the most part, you want your high schoolers working towards credits for college entrance and things that you can put in their transcripts. However, if your children are closer together in age range, then it would be so much fun for everybody to sit around the table and to do art together. Number 4, how often do you want to do art? Maybe you want to do it weekly or bi-weekly, monthly. Maybe you want to do it multiple times a week. So think about that. Remember that your schedule is going to change constantly, so feel free to switch things up. You can just make art and creativity part of your lifestyle. Number 5, do you have a designated day when you'll do art? And this is so important. So pull out your main homeschool planner and look at what you do each day and just choose a day where you can actually set aside an hour or two for art. A lot of our studio members love to have Fine Arts Friday, or Fun Day Friday, and they include all the subjects that make school fun, art being one of them. Number 6, do you have a designated area where you will do art? So some families do all their schooling on the kitchen table or in their living room. That's what we did growing up. We did not have a designated schoolroom. So if you're going to be doing art on the kitchen table, then make sure that you have some sort of covering to cover the surface of your table so that if someone spills Mod Podge, I'm not going to say who did that in our family, but it was probably the mother. Your husband won't have to redo the surface of your table. So, a word to the wise. Number 7, do you have all the art supplies your kids will need? So, in the last session, we went over the very bare minimum art supplies that would get you started for $25 or $50, and then I gave you some extras to add as you go, but you don't need them all at once. Check your stash, see what you have, and add as you go. Number 8, how will you organize your art supplies so they don't take over your home? Where will you keep them, and are they easily accessible? So we have some members who do their schooling in the kitchen, and they have a cabinet that they have designated for art supplies, and they just put everything in that one cabinet, and so after art is done, they can put everything back in there, close the door, and it's gone. We also have some families who have shelves where they're more accessible to the children all throughout the week, and then some have set up the little Rascogs or art carts. So if you will look under this video, I have a link to one of our studio members who did a blog post for us on how she set up an art cart for her son. So that is our first tip. Just make it accessible, but make it organized so you're not pulling your hair out. Number 9, how will you display your kids and hopefully your artwork? So in our home, we have art all over the walls. I put little thumbtacks in with little metal clips to hang them up. We can change them out, switch them up. I'm not making huge holes in the wall, but some parents like to have like a clothesline string and just use clothespins to display certain ones each week or each month. And then also I wanted to give you another link to another homeschool mom who shows you how to display. She gives you 3 more ideas on displaying your kids' artwork. So that button is below this video as well. So click on that and check it out. Number 10. What will you study in your homeschool over the next few months? So think about what you're studying and how you can incorporate art lessons into those studies. For example, with the seasons, you're going on nature walks with your children perhaps. So what about taking some filled watercolors and watercolor pad and just have them draw something from nature? That's a wonderful way of incorporating art. Or if you're studying certain histories in time, you can actually make those coincide with some of the art eras. And we actually have a brand new art series by homeschool mom Emily Copeland called Historical Archives, and this one is U.S. history. And so if you're studying certain historical time periods, you could actually do art based on those moments in history. Or perhaps you have a certain literature book you're reading with your family. My daughter has created an entire course on literature where she takes a book and maybe takes a scene from that book or an idea from that book and recreates it as an art piece. So these are just some fun ways to incorporate art into other areas of your schooling. Number 11, what holidays do you celebrate? So, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we have a planning calendar with suggested holidays and yes, some weird holidays in there. So pull those out. Think about which holidays your family enjoys celebrating and maybe check out some of the weird holidays like TARDIS Day if you love Doctor Who, or May the 4th if you love Star Wars. We've got different art lessons for Hobbit Day. So many interesting, not really traditional holidays, but fun and weird holidays that your kids could celebrate and incorporate art into those. Number 12, what are your children's interests? So do they love horses or any type of animal or nature scenes? Perhaps they love flowers. Maybe they like manga and they want to try to draw faces and different poses and different clothing. So think about their interests. Number 13, what art mediums are your older kids and teens interested in learning? So, for example, perhaps they want to go beyond pencils and learn charcoal because charcoal takes drawing up 10 notches. Or watercolors. So many people are afraid of watercolors, and they're so much fun. So first of all, take inventory of what art supplies you have. And then if your kids want to learn some other ones, maybe you can incorporate 1 or 2 different art supplies so that they can learn these different art mediums. Number 14, which famous artists or art eras would you like to learn more about this year? This would be a good time to look at the different birthdays and perhaps celebrate their birthdays by recreating one of their famous art pieces. And then finally, number 15, do you have an art museum nearby that you can visit? If so, do they have homeschool days? And if so, why not invite a few of your homeschooling families and take a field trip there for the day, because there is nothing like seeing real live art up close and personal. Yes, I have given you ways where you can take virtual museum trips literally all around the world, but to stand inside a museum and to be, well, they make you kind of stand about 18 inches away, and if you lean over the line, you might set off an alarm. Ask me how I know. So you can't get really up close, but you can get very close. And there's nothing like that experience of seeing Claude Monet's brushstrokes, his huge brushstrokes up close and personal, or all the detail that Camille Pissarro put into his pieces, or the fact that Vincent van Gogh painted over a grasshopper that hopped onto his canvas while he was outdoors painting. So if at all possible, find a museum and visit it. Take your kids. It will inspire them. It will give them a little bit more perspective on art history. And it will just be a wonderful experience for all of the families. Wow, you did it. I'm so proud of you. If you've made it through all 3 of these videos, then I know that this is going to be the best art year you've ever had in your homeschool. Maybe it's even the first art year. If it is, then you are starting off on the right foot. So I cannot wait to see all the beautiful art that you and your kids and teens make. So if you have any questions or need any more information, don't hesitate to contact us. Send us an email at contact@masterpiecesociety.com, and one of our team members will get back with you. We cannot wait to help you bring the joy of art into your homeschool.